Alrighty then, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to game number 3 in the GLHF.IT Invitational Round of 4, TLO versus Strelok, and this is going to be on Metalopolis. It looks like last game, Strelok actually able to redeem himself after losing to that Viking versus Viking harassment pressure, and so he was able to redeem himself in another Terran versus Terran. This game gonna be Strelok spawning as Blue Terran at the 2 o'clock position. His opponent gonna be TLO, and this time TLO has decided to spawn as Zerg. I'm not sure if that was the luck of the die or if he actually picked Zerg as his race this game, but we all know that Zerg is very powerful in TLO's hands, so we'll see what he's able to cook up this game. I think the spawn positions, however, might favor Strelok a little bit more than TLO, because TLO is not going to be able to take advantage of outwardly expanding around the bottom right hand corner of the map, whereas Strelok is going to be able to mechanize very easily, very quickly, and then he's going to be able to set up a slow push across the bottom right hand center of the map up to TLO's base. That is a very strong build Terran mech these days against Zerg. Of course, this is prior to the mech nerf where the siege tanks did get their damage reduced by 10. And so that might be something we see from Strelok this game. I think that's what he's going to favor on this map, Metalopolis. You can actually set up tanks right here as well to control the low ground passageway roads between and outside of TLO's base. And so we'll see what happens this game. TLO going to be getting his first Overlord out of position. This drone going to go right into the Terran main though, and he is going to see exactly where Strelok has spawned. Strelok not doing anything fishy of his own accord, getting a Rax, getting the gas. And so now it's Strelok's move, it's Strelok's ball in the court to adjust his play and change it up against a Zerg player. We've seen him obviously play very well against Terran, but can he hold up the same accord for a Zerg player? We're going to see right now, as TLO is being quite annoying with this drone here. I think his original goal right there, not only to kill off the SCV, but also to potentially block off the add-on should it come out of this barracks right here. And Strelok is getting that second gas on the way, so most likely gonna be seeing that mech play from Strelok. But of course, anything is possible for players of this caliber. They could even go air or something like that. Nice block right here from TLO, getting his drone just in the way to block off that tech lab. Nice little play there. Every little bit does count, and we do have some early Zergling pressure from TLO. Meanwhile, looks like he did opt to go for that spawning pool before hatchery. Probably looks like a 10 or 12 pool, something around there, but he is not going to be able to get into the Terran main here. Strelok walling that off very nicely with his second supply depot, and that is a Zergling tight foolproof wall off, and there's nothing that TLO can do about it, so he is going to have to start saturating his natural expansion, start to macro up, and I think we're probably going to see TLO get layer tech, start to play tier 1.5, tier 2 this game, instead of going mass Zergling, because of the fact that he's probably aware Strelok is going to be going mech this game, and so we do have the first factory going down right now. Looks like we do have a Reaper as well, so Strelok going to be trying to do a little bit of harassment with this early on Reaper. Going to keep TLO contained inside his base, and of course, force TLO to produce more Zerglings than he would like, than is ideal for a Zerg player who is getting a fast expansion here. This Reaper should be going straight to the main. Do we have another Reaper on the way? No, we do not. Did not expect Strelok to be getting more than one, and look at this, we actually have a bunker getting erected right outside of TLO's natural expansion here. Strelok does have a Reaper. If this Reaper can get inside the bunker, that is gonna be huge. The SCV was stopped though, and so the bunker is gonna have to be canceled. Wow, close call for TLO, because if that Reaper had gotten inside the bunker, that would have been really devastating. The Reaper just does so much damage to Zerglings, one-shotting or two-shotting them, and of course with the protection of the bunker, that would have been a hard call to muster for TLO. And meanwhile, it looks like Strelok not going to be playing outright mech, going to be getting a fast Banshee here, but look at this from TLO, nice play. He's been cycling these Overlords all the way from the top left-hand corner of the map, and he is going to get in range to see this starport, along with the Tech Lab, the hallmark of all good Zerg players, checking that build, the inside of the Terran base with the sacrificial Overlord. And even if TLO loses this OV, it is well worth it, because he could have just saved himself the game. Meanwhile, this Reaper being a little bit cute, getting inside the Zerg main a little bit, doing a little bit of damage, but TLO does have quite a few speedlings right now. He does have Lair on the way, and so he is going to need Queens as well as possibly Hydras to deal with the Banshee, and of course he will need Overlords to morph into Overseers to detect that cloaked Banshee, which is oh so deadly against Zerg players. Look at this, TLO going to try to get his Zerglings up inside the main again, but of course Strelok fully walled off, even trying to pull some SCVs off there, a little bit concerned for the safety of his front door. Multiple Queens being spawned here for TLO, so I do like how he's playing right now, actually spreading that creep 2x2, plenty of creep tumors, going to be spreading towards the Terran main, which is going to help slow the Terran push later on. Here comes the Banshee, but the Banshee doesn't have cloak quite yet, and of course going to be repelled by those two Queens sitting side by side. I think we also have an Overseer morphing in somewhere. I definitely heard the sound. Production tab is showing an Overseer getting morphed in, and so TLO well aware of the possibility there. Well, that was a cancelled Overseer. TLO well aware of the possibility of cloaked Banshees here, and we don't actually have another factory being thrown down for Strelok. I'm not quite sure I agree with this. He is getting a Thor though, but I'd really like to see him start getting a second factory, start pumping out some siege tanks. I think that's a much more powerful alternative to getting those Thors and Banshees. I don't think it's quite as strong. Couple Banshees making their way into the Zerg main right here, and there is an Evo chamber going down, but Strelok going to be cloaking his Banshees, going to do quite a bit of damage here. Let's take a look at the income tab. Watch your eye on TLO, who is at 26 Harvesters right now. The Banshees getting repelled away by the 3 Queens, almost going down this second one right here, but TLO losing a couple of his Harvesters. I think he lost maybe 4 or 5 in that exchange. And right now, TLO gonna think about making another counterattack. Wow, nice play from TLO, spreading the creep tumor all the way to the Terran natural. And now Strelok is not gonna be able to land his command center. Darn, that sucks. And of course, the comsat forced to be used to push back these creep tumors, but TLO was waiting to pounce on those Marines. He is gonna get his speedlings up in here, and Strelok's gonna be careful. He's gonna have to raise the door and sacrifice his Thor to these speedlings, lest he wants to lose his main base. And of course, he did raise the door right there, but unfortunately losing his Thor, losing the majority of his Marines, and of course the command center is still not able to land down, and Strelok here in a lot of trouble. He needs to kill off these creep tumors, and Strelok does still have that Banshee in play, gonna be sniping off a couple of these Zerglings, but still really far behind. He needs to grab his natural expansion. And TLO, you know what? He made great use of the fact that he was adjacent to the Terran base, and instead of allowing Strelok to slow push him, he just decided, hey, I'm going to slow push you with these creep tumors. And these creep tumors have still been denying the command center from landing down. Strelok got to be careful. Once again, does have a couple of Hellions out. The Hellions getting taken down, and Strelok forced to pull SCVs to repair the Thor, but he is going to be able to hold off just barely. What is this Queen doing in no man's land, trying to lay those creep tumors right underneath this command center? It would be a miracle if this Queen makes it out of there. What a baller she would be, but she is going to limp away off the creep. It looks like Strelok not going to be in pursuit mode, but he really does need to repair this Thor. And the game, 10 minutes in already, very intense, lots of action. It looks like Strelok does have a siege tank, but gonna be transitioning into a more infantry-based play. Some more Zerglings coming in from TLO, taking out that Thor, which was weakened, and the gates were not closed. TLO gets his Zerglings inside. Strelok's main is starting to work on the Harvesters of Strelok. Keep an eye on Strelok's Harvesters here at 41. It will update in a couple of seconds, but several have gone down, dropping his Harvester count to 33, as you guys see right there. And Strelok, in a world of hurt, he needs to make something happen, as his base has been assaulted by these speedlings, and he has lost several Harvesters. He was ahead of TLO at one point in the game, but after the constant harass, and I would like to even call it, besides speedling harass, creep harass from these creep tumors, just insanely creative play from TLO, spreading the creep to stop the command center from landing. I think Strelok is definitely far behind right now. I'm not sure what he can do in this game, as more speedlings are going to rush in to attack this exposed siege tank. The Harvesters were vulnerable there, but it looks like TLO not going to take that opportunity to attack. Gonna fall back to these two tanks and the bunker. Now let's take a look at the production tab. We do have a lot of upgrades going down here. Zerg, Melee, and Carapace dropping for the Zerg Speedlings. So you guys can see TLO very much Looks like we had some lag there. TLO very much favoring those speedlings. He does have the Infestor getting those glands as well, which helps their energy so that they can fungal growth right away. Do have Burrow as well, so we possibly might see some nice speedling Burrow play underneath the Terra Natural expansion. Meanwhile, Strelok at 63 supply. He does have shields and weapons level 1 being researched for his Marines.